Chris and Melissa Lombardo podcast. From real estate to lending to landscaping to construction and everything in between, this is an exciting podcast that digs into everything home related, including products used in the industry. We have special guests every week who are professionals in the home industry, giving our listeners exciting insider information. Let's sit back, relax, and dig in. This is the Chris and Melissa Lombardo podcast.
First of all, I just want to thank you ladies for being here with us today. We are at the land title office in Lafayette today, and we are meeting with Shanna and Melissa. Melissa is our land title escrow officer, so we go to her. We bring literally all of our listings to her as much as we can. We know her, trust her, love her, and she'll take very good care of us. And then Shanna is just super awesome and our communicator and go-to person for anything that we need in the title office, period.
I'm the Disney parent.
Yes.
Is what
Okay.
Fun Disney parent. Fun Disney parent. Fun Disney parent.
Wow, we need to get with you on that one too. Analogy.
Yep.
So, just to kick everything off, obviously, you know, as real estate agents, we know what title insurance is. It doesn't sound very sexy, right, in a real estate transaction, but it's super critical, super important. Yes. And so, can you just give us the basic lowdown, first of all, of what the heck title insurance is?
Yes. So title insurance, unlike health insurance, car insurance, that insures the future, title insurance insures the property in the past and items that could arise from previous owners, previous heirs, anything of that sort. That's what title insurance is. So it's an insurance for the past on a property.
And the difference too between, say, title insurance and car insurance, homeowners insurance. Title insurance is a one-time premium and it's paid at closing, as opposed to we're paying on car insurance every month. We're paying on homeowners insurance every month. So title insurance, one-time premium at the closing table. So
Fantastic.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as far as that premium goes, right? So we know that as a seller here in the Colorado market, anyhow, 90% of sellers are paying for their title insurance. There have been cases where buyers are paying for the title insurance. Can you speak to that? Like, why would a buyer pay the title insurance in a transaction? And really, why is it very important that the seller chooses anyway their title company and to pay for all of that?
This was something I had trouble wrapping my head around when I first got into title almost 4.5 years ago. Why does the seller choose as opposed to the buyer? And I looked at it as, so if I were selling my home, I am ensuring the new owners that are coming in to buy that property, that this property is free and clear of any liens. No one's going to come back and say they own this property. We are ensuring the title is free and clear for the new owners. So once I looked at it that way, then it made me understand more why the seller typically pays for the title insurance as opposed to the buyer. So I always tell my new agents that too, because they always have that question. It's like, why are sellers paying for title insurance when the buyers coming in are going to have the insurance on that home? So that might help people understand that a little bit more.
Well,
too.
and it gives the seller peace of mind too, that you are turning this property over free and clear and literally wiping your hands clean and just able to move forward, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the word commitment. What is that?
The title commitment.
It's a closer's Bible.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So the title commitment is our commitment to ensure the new transaction that will be taking place with the buyer. So, you know, as you go through a commitment, your requirements page is everything that a closer has to complete in order for us to be able to close the transaction and pass free and clear title off to the new buyer at closing. So.
Wonderful. So now, as an agent and as a seller, as a buyer, it's really important that when we get those title documents in our email, right, we peek at them, take a look, and if we have any questions, best to ask you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will tell you this. As a closer, and my office especially, if there's something that pops up on a title commitment that we're concerned about, we absolutely reach out right away to your sellers, or if it's on your buy side, to your buyers as well as you guys, to let you know that there could be something that we're worried about, IRS liens, judgments, those type of things.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that was my next question. What are some examples of things that you would reach out to a seller or a buyer about?
IRS liens, absolutely, because those can, if you have a quick close, those IRS liens can take anywhere between 7 to 14 business days to even be able to obtain a payoff with the IRS. So those type of items, we definitely would reach out right away, especially if it's a quick close. But I would say judgments are something that we would reach out, mechanics liens. If we feel that there are 2 deeds of trust against the property and they equal, more than what the sales price is going to be, we would reach out to you guys and go, hey, were you aware there were this and this on this property as far as deeds of trust, those type of items. Foreclosure. So if there's a notice from the public trustee's office, we would reach out to you folks as well. So yeah, we absolutely, unless it's very clean, we really will reach out to the agents.
I like to point out if there's a special taxing district. I just like to make sure that the new owners that are coming in know that they're moving into a special taxing district, because a lot of times they don't. And if the agent doesn't do their due diligence to inform their buyer that there's a special taxing district, they might move in and all of a sudden their taxes, they get their tax bill and it's like, wait, why are my taxes so high? Well, I've had that, and I tell them, like, we didn't know that. So I just like to scan that and let people know, hey, do you know this? So, especially in Adams County, with all the new builds popping up. So,
No, that's really helpful.
Why is it so important to use a larger title company like yourself? There's a lot of smaller title companies that are around town and agents are using them, but why is it so important to use someone like Land Title?
Well, again, so title companies are very similar to, what do they call those, ghost kitchens? So they'll pop up, and when the market changes, they may go away. So again, going back to that underwriting piece, you don't want to have to hunt and peck around for who the underwriter was or who took over that paper if that title company went out of business. You don't want to have to if there's a claim.
Well, and our company's been around since 1967, so we've been around for a while. We're not going anywhere, especially when the market shifts like it has. We're not going anywhere. So peace of mind to know that. One thing that I do love about our title company, and I can't speak for other title companies, but I don't know what they do, but we are also very focused on charitable contributions. Every October, we do this big fundraiser, and a portion of each closing that closes with us goes to a different charity that we choose every year, which I love that. Before I got into title, I wanted to get into nonprofit work, but the money wasn't really there. So it's nice that we have this option at Land Title, and I can promote this with my clients, because to me that's huge. As a big company, that we're putting our money elsewhere as well, so that's important to me.
Melissa and I always recommend Land Title to our clients. You're not just working with Melissa and I, you're working with a full team, whether it's a lender, it's us, it's Land Title. We both have been out to dinner with Shanna and Melissa, the Avs games. We hang out outside of work as well. So it's one big team, one big family working towards one goal.
Absolutely. Yes.
I would like to say too, you mentioned why Land Title and things like that, and the fly-by-night title companies, and so this word escrow, right? There's a lot of money that goes into a transaction when it comes to buying and selling a home. So can you speak to the importance of escrow and why we have escrow versus, as an agent, we don't collect, earnest money, things like that. And that's really important for buyers and sellers to know too.
Yeah. So if something were to happen with Land Title, we have separate accounts where money goes into. So at which point in time, the FDIC could potentially come in and reimburse buyers, sellers, whomever that money that they have sitting in those separate accounts. Now again, and I'm sure you guys have maybe heard rumblings of it, but there's been a few title companies that have mishandled funds, maybe commingled funds, done stuff that they weren't supposed to do. So going back to that, you know, we've been around since 1967. We really, truly are one of the most stable companies within Colorado. We really are. So, and again, it is really important as buyers, sellers move forward in a transaction to make sure that all of their money is indeed safe.
Well, and we go through, you could speak to this better than I can about our wire fraud process. Once a property does go into contract and we start that process, our closing team, I mean, we have very strict processes in place to make sure that the money is safe, and you could speak to that better than I can.
So when a transaction comes in within 24 hours of a new contract hitting our desk, we will reach out to the buyers, go over wiring instructions with them. We send it to them secure. We ask them to open it up. We ask them to call us back, verify those wiring instructions. We go through it with the seller as well, letting them know, please do not send any of your information. We will not ask you to wire any funds, so on and so forth. Then 48 hours prior to the closing, we reach back out to the buyers one last time, go over those wiring instructions again, letting them know that none of that information has changed or will change. It is absolutely ours. If anybody contacts them, they need to circle back around to us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really fantastic. So now during the transaction, once you've done all your research, it's the title company essentially, and the title is free and clear, and we're ready to move forward. As a buyer or seller, what's the next step in the process? What should we expect from you? Like, you know, numbers, because everyone's always like, well, how do I know what I'm bringing, and you know, what's the bottom line number? What's the next
So
step?
on the seller side, we really try to get seller settlement statements out to our listing agents within 7 to 10 business days prior to closing. Now, there are some circumstances that we've been really trying hard to get the HOA status letter or this or that. There are circumstances, but for the most part, 7 to 10 business days. On the buy side, it's a little bit different because it all really is dependent on when the lender gets clear to close, sends us numbers, and we balance with them. But generally speaking, lenders will have figures over to us a week before closing. We usually balance with them, and we have to have a settlement statement out, in theory, 72 hours prior to the closing.
Right. Okay. Ladies, I just really want to thank you for your time. I know you're super busy, but it's been a pleasure to speak with you and come to your office and everything like that. So, and again, if you guys need anything, title related questions or whatnot, we know that for sure Melissa and Shanna can be available for us. So.
Absolutely. Thank you
for having us.
Thank you for
having us.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, then that's it.
And that's all on the Chris and Melissa Lombardo podcast. As always, we appreciate you joining in with us. If you have a real estate question or you have a topic that you'd like to listen to in a future episode of ours, drop us a line below, or we're always available on chrisandmelissalombardo.com. Thanks for joining in. We will talk to you soon.